Coming at you live from the CVT studios in the heart of Roseville, California. I'm your host, Andrew, and with me are my co-hosts,
Matt
and Roger.
And join with us as a special guest for today.
I'm Lainey.
And this is the Cryptid versus Cryptid podcast. Play that crazy music.
Andrew.
Yeah,
it's been a minute since
it's been a while. It's been a full month. I'm back now. We are back in full swing, you know.
No, we missed you without your enthusiasm. The last episode has been, very low key.
Yeah, sounds like it was kind of low energy last time, you know.
It's funny because he's the one that doesn't believe in this shit, so.
Yeah, I know, and he brings the enthusiasm to the podcast.
Yeah, that doesn't mean I'm not, excited to talk about stuff.
All right, well, as we usually do, here's our thanks to everybody. We are 4 downloads away from 750 downloads.
Ooh.
Getting close to that 1,000.
Almost at a 1,000, baby. About to drop the special already.
I know. We still need to figure out what we want to do for a 1,000 download special.
I got some ideas in mind, but...
Okay. Good. You still got a few episodes to scratch out the finer details.
It depends on how quickly this progresses, but yeah.
Well, we'll see, because I know the Thicky Toby versus the Rake is quickly becoming, it's almost taken over our most popular.
It's almost taken over episode 1?
No, not those, but the episodes we've done this season.
Oh.
Out of the 5 total, or 4 total besides this we've done so far, it's like the second most popular one. And it's not even in the lineup for
I'm sure we all kind of know why, but yeah.
Yeah. And then I know Roger was hyped that Megaconda and Dobarku were finally surpassed.
Thank God.
Well, bad news.
Oh no.
Megaconda and Dobarku episode has taken over once again.
God damn it.
By 1 download.
Oh my God.
Hey, that just means more people are hopping on the full episodes train.
No, that's the worst episode.
I mean, hey, I don't doubt that, but it just means that more people are listening to it all in order. That's all I'm saying.
I try and push that episode down whenever I tell people. I'm like, yeah, first few episodes are good. Don't listen to episode 3 because it sucked.
That's
so
the
just
problem.
skip that one.
You say first few episodes, and that includes that one.
Well, then I say that episode's bad.
We reference that episode a lot, though. Like, thinking back on it, there's a lot of times where like, versus, because we want to make them fight all the, like, the Dobarku and the Megaconda, because they're, like, the big animals, so.
Yeah, but we also push Mothman a lot, and, well, I guess that is our most popular episode.
Yeah.
Sadly.
So, I think it's great.
I know, but we're just about to round out the season.
Yeah, the season's almost up, and we got another wrap-up next time, yeah.
And we have another new special guest coming on, so look forward to that. Hopefully he'll be able to bring a lot to the table that we haven't already talked about.
Yeah, I'm hoping he actually listened to the past, 4 or 5 episodes.
Every time we have a host on, I make him listen. Or a host, but a guest. I don't know about Lainey, but...
I've listened to a few. I haven't listened to the last 2.
Okay, well, you're missing out because the last one was gold.
The last one was...
gold, yeah.
It was.
Last
Oh,
one.
man. Humanoid frog wearing pants. Doesn't get any better than that.
Hey, no spoilers. Come on, they gotta actually listen to the episode.
I hope they would have listened to that one if they're listening to this one.
Well, let's see.
But if you haven't, go back and listen. Very fun episode.
Frog with pants.
We also had a guest on that one. We're doing 3 straight episodes with guests.
Oh, let's go.
But with that out of the way, how about we hop into today's group of cryptids?
Yeah, who do we got?
Yeah, today we have the Amikuk and one we've been sitting on for a month and a half now, the Ningen.
Yeah, we're gonna have him face the
mermaid.
The mermaid, but it seemed a little disproportionate, so.
Yeah.
A little, yeah. Yeah.
Well,
5 feet versus 90 feet, that's just a little.
Yeah, well, almost 100 feet, yeah.
So who wants to kick us off? Do we want to start with the Ningen or the Amikuk?
I don't know.
Let's go in alphabetical order. Amikuk first.
All right, who wants to take us away with Amikuk history?
I'll hit him up with history.
All right.
Within the vast legends of Native Americans, there's a creature that not only stalks the waters of the Bering Strait, but also traverses through the ground itself. This creature, known as the Amikuk, is relentless in hunting its prey. Due to this, not many stories have survived the test of time for this cryptid, but descriptions still last. Tied to these terrifying abilities are the insane descriptions and diagrams of this creature. While its body may be relatively normal length, the tentacles on this creature make up for that. Not only are they long, but at the end of them are very large claws used to destroy earth and ice while destroying its victims. Are the tales and descriptions of this creature simply an amalgamation of different animals, or is there truly a nightmarish creature lurking in Bering Strait?
Yeah, so he's definitely an interesting cryptid.
Yeah, I mean,
He's definitely one of the most savage ones, I feel like.
this, from what I've heard about it, this guy's got some crazy power.
Everyone that I've heard about talking about him and everything, he's the apex predator is what they say.
Yeah.
Totally cold-blooded hunter.
Just the way he travels and then what he does, kind of crazy.
You know, I mean, he just stalks your prey. I read that most of the time you're not able to escape this creature, but even if you do, it still hunts you through land. Once it's hyper-focused on you, there's no getting away.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like going back to the rake. That's what the rake does, and that's what this creature does.
yeah, this creature, and it the fact that it can just tunnel through land, water, anything. It's can cross over, so you don't have an escape for it. You know.
The only thing it has left to conquer is the sky, and given time, I imagine that would be something it could conquer as well.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, it almost doesn't need it.
This thing's crazy.
But with the descriptions, I did pull up an image, a bit of a diagram of this creature, and it's pretty fucking terrifying.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
from what I can tell. It looks like an inverse octopus or something like that. Like,
What it reminds me of, it's the War of the Worlds, the robots.
Yes,
That's exactly what it reminds me
yes.
of looking at that.
yeah,
And,
You know,
I
a
always,
flesh-sized robot.
I always
Yeah.
got to find a way to tie it back, but there's a DLC in the best game ever made, Skyrim, where you travel to an island and they have these tentacle creatures that look exactly like this thing.
yeah.
So that's where I draw my recollection of it from. If you can't see, obviously you can't see, but these two are having a freak out moment.
Yeah, because this guy's got heavy opinions about Skyrim. Anyway, yeah, it's freakish. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all we can talk about with it, because like I had in the write-up, there's just not many first-hand accounts of this creature.
Yeah, most of it's just like Native American or Inuit, which is like Arctic. I'm pretty sure this guy's the
It's
one that
like-
lives up.
It's like
to the top.
Greenland and
Yeah, Bering Strait's like between Russia and Alaska.
Yeah.
So, which is funny because the other cryptid's like from Antarctica. So it's kind of both sides of the planet. But
You know, I mean, there's just no first-hand accounts that survive, obviously, because this thing is just a hunter. It's more of just legend.
yeah,
passed
well,
down.
from what I can tell, if it doesn't demolish you, it just has a move that it can go through your body and kill you instantly anyway. So,
Really?
yeah. Well, the whole story was if you're using anything to support you while walking. So it could just be the fact that they're old, but it's like, oh, if you're using something to support you with walking, it goes through whatever you're using and into your body and then just leaves. You just lay down and die.
Okay, that's fucking weird.
Yeah. It's a little bit more of the whole like native, coming from the fact that it's Native American, or I think, is it Alaskan or something like that?
Yeah, something. I'm not quite sure. I mean, when I was reading it, it
I
did
think it was an
mention that it was a
Eskimo
lot of
tribe or something
Native
like that.
American stuff, but it never really delved into the details of tribes and anything like that.
Yeah.
it's kind of the people that, because when Native Americans came across, they came across from Russia to Alaska and then down to the Americas.
Yeah. Some of
So
those
that's
people.
like those people that stayed there instead of going down.
Mhm. Yeah, so it's just a really evil spirit, almost like the Wendigo and whatnot, where it's just some spirit that's, tell your children about type thing. Oh, don't go walking alone or else the Amikuk's gonna absorb your body and then kill you.
We'll delve into it more at the end when we talk about believability, but it's another one of those boogeyman kind of stay away from the water cryptids.
Yeah.
Waterland.
Oh yeah, it's pretty much stay away from anything.
Yeah, stay away
Like,
from,
It resides in
wandering
the
too
water,
far.
so stay away, because if you just get close, it's going to chase you and you're going to die no matter where you run. With those fine details and stories out the way, let's talk some Amikuk stats, characteristics, and abilities. Now, before we hop into it, Titan class cryptid or normal cryptid?
It was large.
It's not on the scale of Titan, I think, though.
And just to refresh, our Titans are like the Oklahoma Octopus, Nessie, and Megaconda length. Not actual like fucking Titans like Godzilla, but
I
that's
thought we
just
had
what
the
it turned
Giant
out.
class, and then Titan
Yeah.
class was the one above that.
Did we?
I think so.
It's been so long since we brought it up. Just because
Yeah.
I've been trying to keep the cryptids on the lower end of sides, and I wanted to do just one more round of huge cryptids. Then yeah, this one's definitely huge
yeah,
class.
this one's
so-
because the second one up is like house sized, which is what we put those into. And I think I'd put this in there too.
right.
Well, yeah,
It's definitely it's on the smaller end, but
it's like
our next cryptid fits into the class comfortably. So
I want to say it's like Nessie size, but maybe a little smaller. Because Nessie's what 20 feet
I
long.
mean, we probably have it recorded, so I can pull up the Nessie real quick. 20 feet long.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think
this would be
thing
near
is
the
probably
bottom
15,
yeah, it's like
17,
15
somewhere around
feet.
there.
It would definitely be on the bottom of our huge class of cryptids. So just keep that in mind for when we do talk certain stats, just so we can.
yeah, because
Judge
they're
it
weighed
correctly.
a little differently for that. Yeah.
So let's hop into characteristics first. Obviously, I have the 12 to 15 feet long. But Roger, you brought up shapeshifting earlier when we were getting ready to do this.
Yeah, that's what. When I first looked up about it, it was another shape-shifting cryptid, kind of like the. Why do I forget that one's name? The one we just did.
Bunyip.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bunyip's another one, but this one, it's definitely like part of its thing, whereas the Bunyip was just recorded stories of different stuff. So
From what I could tell, it shapeshifts whenever it's hungry. I think it shapeshifts into a human being that can only walk in a straight line, and then if the whole native thing about it was if you like sit down with your back to it, then it'll walk away, and that gives you good fortune. But
Interesting.
yeah, but it definitely can become a human. Like it can shift into a human.
Okay. Another characteristic, leathery skin. When I was reading about it, that was like one of the prominent descriptions was that
yeah,
it has leathery skin.
There's also, well, I don't know if this, are we in characteristics or
Yeah, we're just in
abilities?
characteristics right now.
I don't know if this is an ability, but from what I heard, that some accounts say that it's like ethereal almost. It can go through things
Okay.
because it doesn't leave anything behind when it goes through the ground and water. So some accounts are like it can just float through it like a spirit. But
I think that'd be more of abilities than
That's what I was
characteristics.
definitely abilities.
that's what I was thinking.
And then the final main characteristic I have are powerful claws. Because from what I read, it was just literally just crushing through ice and rock. Like it was nothing.
Well, yeah, it crushes through that, and then it crushes basically humans too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it would
obliterates
crush
them.
old people, and then I think it said fishermen when I was listening. So,
And with characteristics out of the way, I only have, obviously we're going to add ethereal or semi-ethereal to the abilities. But the only other prominent ability that I added on here was fast earth digging, just because it's said to tunnel through the earth, whether that's the ethereal ability or whatnot. I think we can throw them both down.
Yeah, I mean we already have like super strong claws anyway, so it's not a stretch that it would. I don't know of anything else other than like because attributed to the ethereal thing is like the fact that it can just go through you with that like instantly kills you thing, which I'm probably attributing more to human beings than anything else. I think it's meant to like hunt humans.
it
It's
definitely
what-
hunts humans a lot
Yeah,
more. than
I think
anything
that
else.
was overall the biggest thing is that it hunts human beings is what the creature is about. So
Yeah, I haven't read anything about it hunting other kind of creatures. It was mainly just a human targeter. All right, with abilities coming down to fast earth traveling and semi-ethereal form, let's hop into the fun stuff, the stats. What are we thinking for intelligence?
it doesn't need to be smart. There's not really anything that proves that it is.
Yeah, no, there's no real feat to judge its intelligence. It's almost just borderline.
I'm gonna just give it a 6.
Okay,
A
you're
6.
just throwing a 6 out there. I think I could go with the 6 just because when it does use its shape shifting, it knows to go into a form of a human.
But it
That's
can
true,
only
I
walk in
didn't
a
think
straight
about that.
line.
That's
Yeah,
also
that's-
true.
And you also got to think that it's still kind of like it's not above like kind of animal intuition. It's more hunt prey, kill prey, and
Yeah.
feast. And then
There's
go
almost
back.
no strategic thought going behind any of its
I
kind
kind
of
of want to
killing
give it a
moves.
5.
A 5?
I don't know. I still want to give it a 6 just because of the knowing to go to human. That's the only part that was a 6 for me.
But it could just see a human and then be like, all right, well, I'm just going to turn to that because it likes more human.
See, here's my only defense against that, and maybe it's just because it only hunts humans, but it knows not to turn into another animal to maybe frighten off the humans. So it takes a familiar form to the humans to not scare them away. I mean, I can
know,
go
but it's
either.
also stupid enough to look at someone who's sitting down with their back facing it and be like, nah, and then turn around. So
I mean, I'm swayed either way to a 5 or a 6. I started off 5, solid 5. Roger swayed me a bit with the 6, so it's really, we can leave it up to Laney.
yeah, Lainey, you got any input on this?
Well, I would say, yeah, it's kind of like stupid. Like, oh, person facing back, like, it would still, like, kill it, even though it can, like, go through stuff, I can kill people. But it can also, like, recognize, okay, like, I can transform to this friendly thing because it knows, like, people. So I would say about 5 because of the
Lainey's
whole
with
back
me on
thing.
the 5.
The back thing and then the walk in a straight line, that's kind of suspicious.
Yeah.
My only thing for the straight line thing is that, is it because it only knows how to go in one direction, or is that a limitation to its transformation?
From what I could tell, it's limited because like once it becomes a human being, it doesn't have any like cognitive ability other than just like, oh, I can walk straight type thing.
Then with the cognitive knowledge, I think that would also knock it down to a 5.
Going to 5.
Bullshit. I'm outnumbered. Anyways,
Well,
doesn't
3 to
matter.
1. So
Exactly. I'd still give it a 6, but whatever.
I'm glad we have a tiebreaker here.
yeah.
We would have been stuck in the middle for a while. Now let's talk power. I'm just throwing it out here. I think this is an easy 10.
I'm giving it a 10 too. This thing has the power to like crush.
I mean,
stuff.
even though it's like low, huge tier, and so, you know, you'd kind of even it out. I still think for huge tier, this thing is a 10. I mean, it's just ripping through rock and ice. And there is the
Kinda
ethereal
tricky.
thing, but it is said to just crush through layers
Yeah.
of ice.
The ethereal thing
easily.
also isn't like, that's just a minor thing. Overall, the consensus is that it like drills straight through. So that's just the ethereal things. Like, oh, some people kind of attribute it to as being partly a spirit and whatnot. So
Not leaving a trace and everything.
yeah, but
But I'm comfortable with a 10 for huge class. And what are we thinking defense? It does have the leathery skin. I mean, looking at the picture, it just looks like your normal kind of leathery skin an animal would have.
I'm gonna
So I don't
say
think
it
it's
now.
going to attribute it to too much, and there's no sign of like high defensive abilities from this
I'm
thing.
giving
It's
it a 4.
Well, we can't.
4.
It's
can't-
not like it doesn't have any extra. Whereas before it was like, oh, fur. Oh, like it's got what did the Oklahoma octopus had like a wet layer on its skin or something like that. Like,
Well, and it had also like defensive abilities.
yeah, but this thing's just like
Yeah.
it just looks like it. There's nothing there. There's no bonus to what it's got.
And I mean, the limbs do look super
Yeah,
lengthy.
I will say it kind of, when you look at a picture of it, it kind of looks like a picture of just a normal Wendigo where it's the gray skin and it kind of looks dead.
It looks like you could stab it in the head pretty easily. I'm not attesting to how easy it is to kill it, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't go with 4 though. I'd probably give it a 5 because you got to think if it is digging through Earth, it's still digging through the
Yeah.
Earth and taking.
well,
even
that's
if it is
why you give it a
powerful.
4 and not like a 1 because
No, I think
it's
I'm,
got some resistance.
I think
But
I'm with Roger on this one. I think it at least deserves middle of the road. I mainly attribute it to the leather skin, giving it a little bit more of a defense buff from that. But maybe I'm just thinking
It
too
also
hard.
digs
in-
through ice, which ice is hella fucking cold, and it has the.
That's like heat resist or like cold resistance. You know, I'm not sure if that's defense more so
That
another
would-
ability.
I feel like that'd be more of defense.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, if you threw Frogman in there, he had some ice magic, he'd be able to not be as effective.
It's
by
like
that.
special defense type stuff.
Yeah, more of just a
Yeah.
specialty kind of specific defense. What do you think, Lainey?
I definitely go with Andrew and say 4.
Oh.
Because its limbs in the picture look like super flimsy, so it could easily take any like kind of weapon and like
and
cut
cut
them
them all off.
Pull that picture up
Exactly.
again,
If
please.
his skin's like leathery, his head does look like it would be pretty like easy to just like stab.
You realize
um,
the size of this thing, right?
Yes, I do. But its limbs look pretty flimsy and like not very strong. Yeah, it can like dig through ice and earth and whatever, but it doesn't look that very.
Yeah. This thing doesn't look very capable.
And
Yeah,
its
but
eyes,
if you think about it, it's also like an octopus arms, and octopus arms are pretty fucking strong. Either
They
way.
are strong, but that doesn't mean
And
defensively.
to get it also to put on top of it, it has the claws on that.
Listen,
I'm just saying.
Laney's with me on the force, and
I
now I
don't
gotta
know.
stick with it. I've got an army
because
behind me.
also, like, if it turns into a human could also say, "Oh, that he's walking straight behind."
Exactly.
and
It
just
can also
kill
turn
human.
into a human, and humans are like a 2 on the
So
scale.
the human thing can be a positive and a negative
Yes,
thing.
but
Okay,
it doesn't willingly or it doesn't unwillingly turn into a human.
But
It
there's
knows
some-
when to turn into a human.
There's some points where it is human, which means that you have to take it down from your maximum score, because there's some points where he'd be even lower.
Yeah, but that's only when he's hunting. And last time I checked, our
Last
other
time I checked, he only hunts humans, so he's always hunting.
Yeah, but when does it count? When he's like, oh
I
look
can-
at another creature that's obviously not human. I'm gonna turn into a human? No, that's way too dumb.
No,
For
I never
intelligence.
said that. But I can tell that Matt's going like a mile a minute. He's like, I don't know what to think.
No, I'm just waiting to get my word in. You know,
Well, then,
we tend to
so
cut
tell
each
us,
other
tell
off.
us.
So
Please
you
tell me.
brought up the human form thing. Who's to say it's a perfectly formed human that it changes its molecular structure from its leathery skin to just regular skin?
That's very true. But
The
still.
only argument there is that it goes from huge class to normal class.
Exactly. But we did say that defensively, huge
And-
class has slightly.
And if we are going into the fight-wise, it wouldn't take the human form. There's no advantage to it. So you can't really include the human form when we're talking about the fight unless it's fighting more of a humanoid cryptid, which
Wow.
it's not.
But it could go human form if it needs to. Well, that would be into the fight. We're not going to get into the fight. But I'm saying that there's still points in this fight where it might go human, and I'll bring up arguments for that later.
Okay.
But I'm sticking.
with the
I'm
five.
sticking with my 4.
I'm sticking with the
four.
4 too.
Well, we've
because-
hit a fork in the road because I'm sticking with my 5.
I'm sticking with my 5. You're not gonna change my mind on that. 4 is way too low for this thing.
I think 4 is way too low.
Well, we gotta think of the time span of how from human to big creature. That's a lot of time to change into that.
We also don't
We also
have any
don't know if
evidence
it's like
to back that
instantaneous
up.
or anything like that. Yeah.
Okay, you know what? I'm pulling out my trump card because I didn't want to. This is obviously a Native American spirit creature.
Yes.
Wouldn't it have some kind of spiritual defense?
Oh no! Don't
Got
give me the spirit power.
I'm sorry,
thing.
but you forced my hand. I had to bring it out.
I mean,
No.
technically, yeah.
He's got
you
a
gotta think
point.
about
If you look back, Wendigo had the same thing.
I
Yeah.
know. That's the thing that gives them the extra. Okay, I'll give you the 5. I'll settle for the 5 only because of the argument of the fact that it's somehow kind of a spirit.
See, I wanted to avoid that because I don't like the whole spirit thing, you know, ghosts, whatever, shtick either.
It's because we have to attribute more to it because of the spirit thing.
And it's just kind of a wild card, the whole spirit thing. There's no exact measurement you can put on that. It varies.
Yeah, because it's connected to an entirely separate. Yeah,
But you forced my hand, so I had no choice.
next stat.
Mobility.
Oh,
This is
okay,
gonna-
like a
That's the
9 or a 10. It's one of those.
I'm gonna hit you with a 10.
Yeah, I'm,
because
I'm safe with the 10, bro.
It literally goes through everything. And there's no stopping this thing from not going through anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously okay. Here, I'm actually gonna try to talk you guys down. From the
Mobility's
10.
not is wait. We don't have a speed stat, right? Mobility is just speed.
Yeah,
Mobility is just its ability to
Its
move.
ability to move
its
and how
ability
fast
to
it
move
is.
and how fast it is.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. Obviously, its ability to move through the earth is going to give it a very large buff because it's going to have the same exact speed for land and water. But here's what gets me. People can outswim this creature.
People can.
They can outswim the creature.
In what context have you read that they can out?
Yeah, I never saw.
You guys talk. I will try to find.
Because from
what
what I can
read.
tell, fishermen were also one of the prey that it hunts pretty often. And
Well, it just hunts humans in general, so I would want to know what kind of. Unless it's Michael Phelps, I don't see this thing going to like outside.
yeah, I don't think anything's really outswimming this thing because it says it cuts through water as fast as it cuts through land, and from what I can tell, it cuts through land pretty damn fast. So I don't see. I think you got to bring out the stats
Yeah.
because it also pulls people into the water. Like it kills them in the water as well. I think our other contestant also does
I
that.
did
but
some big research into that. I never saw any.
I never saw anything surviving this thing.
Yeah.
This is like this is a one man killing
It's
machine.
like-
I'm not saying they outswim and survive. But they have
Wouldn't
been
that
able
be
to
the
escape
point?
it from
Yeah.
the water.
Would be that the point?
Yeah,
for
they're
the
trying to
outswim?
escape, which they escape from the water, but
You
obviously
see,
it
I
comes
feel like
back and
with
gets
it
them in the
coming
land.
back from, oh yeah, it scans, but it still can go through land. That's what gives it the 10 mobility. Because even though
Exactly.
it's not.
Okay,
it's
even
not
if it does,
perfect.
okay, hypothetically, guy outswims it just barely because this thing's pretty fast, but just barely this guy's been training. He outswims it, and then he gets onto land. He has to climb onto land. The thing killed him already. So
And it's also the fact that it's probably a certain person, not every person can do it. I'll give you this. Some can do it.
So, even though the beast is often regarded as extremely deadly, the Amikuk is not always able to kill its victims after pulling them into the water. This is due to both how long the creature's arms are and how quickly the intended victim is able to swim. Sometimes they're able to get away and make it back to either solid ground or floating sea ice. But just because the lucky soul manages to escape the beast doesn't mean they are out of harm's way, for the Amikuk also possesses the ability to burrow into the earth and ice and move through it as if it were still swimming. The soon-to-be victim can try and run all they want, but once the beast has locked its eyes on the prize, it will not rest until the prize is dead. So people are able to escape it for a short time out of the water.
I'm gonna attribute that to the chaos of it pulling like someone into the water and then thrashing around near it and then being able to escape. But I still think this thing's got a 10 mobility.
It's purely because it can literally go through.
No,
all-
I'm comfortable
everything.
giving it the 10 as well. I just wanted to bring that up to see if it would knock you guys down at all. But I'm comfortable with the
Anything
10.
you wanna say, Lady?
I would say either like a 9.5, only because
We don't do 0.5s on here.
Okay,
That's
well
the-
then-
It's
Well,
nine or-
we've done it. I think we've done it before, but
Whoa,
that was.
Was that the
whoa,
episode
whoa.
I wasn't on? Because we don't do 0.5s last time I
I've
checked.
If
never
I'm sure
seen a
it's not our-
0.5
it's
in
not
this
our
show
favorite one.
in my life.
I've literally never mouthed a 0.5 for an official stat in this show.
Exactly. We may have said 0.5, and then
This
we're
isn't
like,
against
no.
you. This is against this guy. But
It's just a thought. I'm gonna double
if you were
check
going to give
all
it
our-
a stat, it would be 9.5. But you got to round up, so that's a 10. So Laney's
I'm
with
gonna
us
round
on
it
that.
down to a 9.
And well,
Technically,
round
if you-
5
the
stat.
whole running only one direction on land as a human just gets me. I'm like, that's for mobility. Yeah, I
But
can cut
it's
through.
only-
I'll give you that,
everything.
but it's only when it's in a human form.
Okay,
and
but
then,
wait.
And that's to attract them, and honestly, they don't even need to do that, because honestly, it could just go through everything and kill a human.
yeah.
So what's the point of shape shifting, anyways?
Well, that's because it's really hungry. Like that's
Yeah.
hasn't
Okay.
had a meal in a while, so it becomes human to try and like lure people, and then it just kills them. But I'm pretty sure as soon as it touches the person as a human, then it kills them. So
Yeah, I just want to double check because I
It's
thought
more
the
of an
Dobarku episode when we did talk about land speed that we gave it a point, like whatever, but we didn't. So
We gave
I
it
just
the
wanted to double
6, and then we gave it the 9 for water.
check. Yeah, no, we don't do decimals here.
yeah,
Only whole numbers,
We're
no
small.
fractions.
We're a small brain.
yeah.
Yeah, we have to work with numbers we can understand.
We know that if we did decimals, it would become like a 0.27 thing, and then we'd be like, all right, this is too much to comprehend.
But you would just make it 0.5, which is
No,
easy.
No.
Zero.
Because 0.5 allows the reasoning for a 0.75 and a 0.25.
Numbers just
So-
make it less fun.
And then it allows for a .9999.
Which is why we do numbers every episode.
Fractions just make it less fun.
yeah.
So we're going with a 10. Let's talk some HP. And keep in mind this is huge class, so
So 5 is that we have to have minimum 5 here. That's the rule of huge class.
basically like what? A 5 would be a 10 on a normal cryptid scale.
Yeah. So on small scale, it's 1 to 10, and then we shrink that down and we add another 5 on top of that for huge. So it's like 20 overall small scale. But
I wouldn't want to say this thing has too much HP.
I don't think it has too much HP,
'Cause-
even with its body. I mean, its body is still relatively small. Most
Yeah,
of the
7.
size.
I'm giving it 7.
A 7. I can go with the 7. I can go with the 7.
What are you thinking?
I don't know. I'm thinking kind of like a 6.
Okay. I'll give
Just
you. I was
because-
thinking 6, but then I thought
It's still
Just because the majority of the body is just the tentacle.
I don't know. I don't
I
really have
just
a
gave
logical
it-
reason for a 7.
I
I just
did the
wanted to be
6.
above a 6. Is
I did
what
the
I was
6
thinking. I was like,
because of the body, but then I thought about all the stuff it goes through, and that's what gave me the more HP.
I'm gonna hit you with it. You got to give it a 7 because earlier you said spiritual, and so if we're gonna apply it to one stat, we got to apply it to all of them.
I fucking hate you.
Hey, you're the one that brought it up, pal.
I know. I hate myself just as much. Fine. due to our spiritual excuse, give it a 7. Stealth.
This is where I'm going to go low because when it travels through the earth, it does make a sound. It makes like a loud thumping noise when it goes through the earth. So probably on the lower end, like a 3, or I was going to say 4, but I'll go 4.
Going to go 4.
Yeah, 4.
Oh, might as well just go 4.
Whoa, no. Voice, like, what were you initially going to say?
I would say definitely 3 if it makes a loud noise while going through.
Only when he's on land, though. So if
Okay,
he's in the
well,
water, he can't make a noise. He doesn't really make
Well, it's
one.
still on land. That's where most of food will probably be, so I'd say 3. Unless there's a whole bunch of people fishing.
Are we about to hit it with the land and water one again?
No, we're not doing land and water for stealth.
I will say this fight's probably going to take place in the water, though. So
Most likely, yeah. I think land, I don't want to talk about the fight too much, but I think land would be more of just an escape
Thinking
route.
of the other cryptid.
Yeah, no. Well, I think land is actually a possibility.
yeah, I think Laney actually convinced me. I'm back to 3.
Back to 3.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's that stealthy.
I just don't think it's that.
Also, the fact that it becomes a human being, like, does that give it stealth though? Like, are we adding that?
That's
into
like
it?
would.
That's like a disguise, which is
Yeah,
Well, we
exactly.
have to consider,
So-
like, does it change into the same human every time? Because if you just see a giant creature change to the same human every time, that ruins the stealth.
I don't think it shows that it transforms. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
it's the
People could
point of
see-
to lure out, which is another stealthy thing. To lure out someone.
I'm back
so
to
that
the
they
4,
kill.
baby. Yeah,
Lots
we're
of
back to 4.
It doesn't.
And I mean,
matter
if it's a
what it's-
generic enough human body, I think it just kind of blend in with everything.
I almost want to give it a 5 now. Just
Okay,
to
hold
keep
on,
it
relax,
transparent.
relax.
Relax. We're sticking.
I mean, if we do want to give it a 5, we can bring in spiritual.
We do have to apply it to all stats.
I think 4 is good.
4 is fine.
4 is fine. 4 is
4 is
good.
fine.
All right.
4 is good.
Now, with that out of the way, let's do a quick stats recap. We're sitting at Intelligence 5, Power 10, Defense 5, Mobility 10, HP 7, Stealth 4. This is the first cryptid we've given 2 10s to.
That's true.
So-
This is also a very powerful cryptid. I'll
Oh,
give
yeah.
it that. This one's got some.
Out of everything we've covered, I think it's probably,
Like, just reading about it, I'm like, wow, this guy's got some power.
strength-wise, single-handedly the most powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
This thing-
Oklahoma Octopus is a close second, though.
I'm going to give this thing the power to rip Bigfoot apart. Just, like...
Yeah,
Well,
he's
his
also
size-
a class above Bigfoot
Yeah, huge
size-wise,
class is
which
kind
gives
of
it
like a
Bigfoot's
different-
at
good
least close to
advantage.
human size. This thing
This
trumps
thing is
human
huge.
size.
Yeah.
So
Right.
All right.
Now, let's move on to the long-anticipated Ningen. Who wants to take Ningen history?
I'll take Ningen history.
Okay. I can't attest to the quality of this write-up because I wrote this like a month and a half to 2 months ago. So I have no idea what we're in store for.
Ningen is a newer cryptid to hit the waters of cryptozoology, with the most of the sightings being in recent decades. The first report of the Ningen came from a post on 2chan where it was claimed that the whalers spotted a white humanoid creature swimming through the waters. This post was popular throughout the year of 2002 until around December. 5 years later, the Ningen started popping up again in other media outlets such as news articles and manga. Many sightings have been acclaimed to have appeared throughout the years, with some photos and videos popping up here and there, with descriptions and stories taken into account. This is creature a fiend of the deep, or just something created with the ideas of folk creatures and monsters from Neon Genesis in mind?
Pretty good write-up in there, if I do say so
Threw
myself.
Ava in there, huh?
I did. I think I read that somewhere when I was doing my research. I can't tell you where because it's been so long.
I was about to
I'm
say,
pretty
I
sure
don't
that's
know.
where the whole Ningen thing started, though.
I will correct myself. I did say the first report was from 2chan, which is just when it became popular. There is a reported sighting in the 1960s that is technically the first account.
Yeah,
But
the 2chan
nothing was
thing.
really unearthed until
What's
2chan.
that one was a fisherman, right?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, this one, it's pretty straightforward. It's
This one is definitely a lot of like sightings. I guess there's a lot of people trying to have videos of it and photos and stuff. So
There's a lot of renditions of this cryptid. I think it's also one of the more newer, recent cryptids to...
Well, yeah, internet age.
it has a lot of forms, I feel like, because there's the 90-foot one, which is the most famous one, and it's the one where it looks like a beluga whale, but it has like 2 giant arms, basically. And then there's the one where it has the 2 legs and it's like a head on top of
That's
it.
the,
that's the
that's
best
the
one.
funniest image, though. It's just like a white sphere with 2 legs, basically. It looks like the cat.
And then there's a theory that it's like a school of something. I don't know what it is, but it forms that creature.
Like a school of fish.
Or
Yeah,
some sort
Or
of
some
creature.
kind
some
of
creature.
aquatic creature.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about images, let's check out a couple of them. I think this is probably the creepiest one that I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of these photos, all the photos.
This one.
doctored.
This one's the creepiest right here, dude.
That one
That
just
one-
makes
it
me feel
reminds-
uncomfortable.
It reminds me of the cat that's running. That has the 2 legs. You see that?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Here's the beluga one I think you were talking about right there.
Yeah, that's the
Can't
most
really
famous
expand
one.
it. But I mean, we're dealing with a Titan class cryptid here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
We're,
is-
so we're officially giving it Titaning class?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, easily.
Because
Alright, so that means that we're bringing it up to, now this is overall like a 40 stat total. So,
I mean, but before we hop into all that stuff, the interesting thing I did find was I was reading this article, 12 Facts About the Ningen, the creepiest animal you've never heard of. And it talks about somewhere in here about government cover-up for the Ningen. And like, that's something really popular with it. And I was like, yeah, that's fucking, I mean, obviously it would make sense, but that's kind of retarded until I scrolled down. They have a video on here. The main reason information about Ningen is limited is because the remote location they live in means it's very expensive to take it. Okay. Thought there are also rumors that Japanese government is monitoring internet postings and photos of Ningen and attempting to remove them. They had a YouTube video to go along with this, and it's removed.
that's another thing that the channel could have just taken down, though. Like,
True, but that would have to be, they'd have to be working with this article alongside whoever's running this channel, unless it is the article or the thought catalog.
okay,
that ran the channel.
we'll bring it to the believability at the end, but
But no, I just thought that was a cool fact. Obviously, a lot of cryptids, or a few cryptids tying with the government cover-up thing. I mean,
and there's a lot more about it being like even just fishermen and stuff like that now, like off that sort of coast. Oh, watch out.
here's one more picture that's also part of this article that talks about a Google Earth sighting of the Ningen. So it's just that. I mean, that it's got like, the form they attribute it to, but it's so blurry and zoomed out. It's kind of hard to really be like
Yeah,
Ningen.
But that's
Google Earth.
basically all the cryptid pictures.
yeah.
Yeah.
All cryptid pictures have some sort of like, oh, this could be doctored, this could be something else, but
Oh yeah. I mean, but there are some that are like lean towards. You could lean
I will
towards
say
more
this one
believable.
is apparently documented, which is more than a couple have had.
Oh
So,
yeah. Anything else we want to? I mean, there just really isn't too much to talk about. Sightings are really straightforward.
yeah, we can't really bring too many like personal accounts into this because it did start off the internet, so that kind of cuts.
A lot of the sightings
the-
were definitely from the Japanese government, and then they would take this stuff down. More of this was just photos and then videos of it. There was one of like I don't know if it was a U.S. submarine or a Japan submarine, but it had a video, and there was like, oh, this is the Ningen right here. And it was just like a blacked out image with like 2 eyes you can see. It wasn't really believable. but-
Yeah, that's one of those things where it could just be fucking anything.
Yeah,
All right. Well, with that out of the way, let's talk some Ningen abilities, stats, and characteristics. So for characteristics, I have 20 to 30 meters long, which roughly translates to 65 to 90 feet long, and human-like hands and feet. Now that one can sway. The hands you definitely see a lot, but I've heard that it sometimes has a fish tail instead of actual legs.
I think the arms are the bigger thing than
Yeah.
the legs. Yeah.
But I think it really comes down to the interpretation that we take of the cryptid for the battle, which I think we should establish. Are we going with the beluga form with the arms, then the fish tail, like in the one picture?
I think we should go with the most popular one. Yeah,
Yeah.
just it's a large whale-like creature with arms, kind of like a humanoid face. Yeah.
Yeah, what I hear is that it's kind of just like a blank face, like it's literally the straight line mouth and then 2 dotted eyes, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I'll throw down human facial features. Because that is something you definitely read a lot about when you do research. Is
That's why
it's
everyone
got those
thinks
specific.
thinks it's the beluga whales because that's one that has probably the most humanoid face to it.
And then the only real ability, if we even want to attribute it to, we can take it off because it's just a really generic ability. I put down cold resistance because it is in the Arctic, but that's really all I can bring to it. I'm completely fine with taking cold resistance off.
Well, we didn't really give it to the last guy, and you did bring up that he has some sort of cold resistance, so I think we might as well just take it off because both of these guys are going to have the same factor.
I feel like that'll
it's not
play
gonna
a role
play.
into defense.
Yeah.
for 'em, so.
So Ningen is rolling with no special or unique abilities going into the fight. And with that short little talk out of the way, let's hop into our stats for the Ningen. What are we thinking for intelligence?
I got to go pretty low on this one.
Yeah.
I'm
No
probably going to go
impressive
for like a
feats.
3 or a 4, one of those two. Depends on
I'm
what
going
you
for
guys
a
think.
3.
Lainey?
I would say 3 too doesn't look like the brightest creature ever.
3 it is. Power.
Okay, this one's gonna be like so power. We've scaled this to Titan class. It's got to be at least a 5.
Yeah, thinking of just size alone, and it's not the school of fish. It's
Okay,
the
so
actual.
yeah, and the fact that the arms are like between a third and that like half the size of its body.
Yeah. So the
So-
arms are going to be like at
And
least
from pretty much
30.
every rendition, it's not like wimpy arm. It's like
yeah,
some
they're
real
big arms.
huge arms.
So they're going to be about 30 feet long.
And then you gotta think about the hands too. The hands are like what, at least probably 10 feet.
Yeah, it's the hands themselves are going to be like 7, 8 feet or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to go with like I want to go with an 8 just because I know how much we've scaled him up, and so
We're
an 8 on our
talking
scale is pretty high. Up.
Titan scale right now. I don't know. I almost want to go with the 7 just because it doesn't really have any. Besides the hands, nothing really impresses me with any kind of power feat to it.
Thinking of Titan scale, it's a Titan, so it's strong because of its size, but it's not strong because of its muscle or anything. So it'd probably be on a 7 on the Titan scale, if anything.
I think a 7, like middle of the road strength, is good. I mean,
Okay.
it's got
I'm
big
down.
arms, but
I'm with 7. I'll take 7.
I'll take 7 as well because the hands and stuff are pretty big.
yeah. Okay. Defense.
I don't know. You didn't give it any skin properties either. It's just.
I mean, it's just got like if you think of like a whale kind of skin.
If
is
you think
what
about
I
it,
would imagine.
whales aren't whales pretty easy to like the pure skin on a whale.
Well, they're blubber.
I would think
Yeah,
it would have
the
more
blubber's
of
just
like
like
the.
That's
like,
true. It has blubber. I don't know if you want to give that as a defensive ability or anything like a stat or anything.
I mean, I think it would definitely give it a buff.
But I think our
But-
biggest buff is the cold resistance for this guy.
I think that would definitely come in more.
Mm.
I don't know. It's hard because you see a lot of the whale hunting and stuff, and they seem like pretty easy targets. I mean, humans are apex predators, but
It's also a giant ass
in
target.
terms of like.
well, in terms of technological
in
standpoint,
terms of normally, not in terms of the show, but
no, of course not.
It's more of that they're. I feel like for whales, it's more of they're such a giant target, and they're not like predators, and that's why they're so easy to kill.
I think we could probably give it like 4.
4.
4 on Titan scale.
I didn't. Titan scale is only strength, right?
I mean, it comes to like strength. I think defense would definitely play a hand in Titan scale. I mean, I'm not too impressed with its defense, especially. I don't think it's going to be like extraordinarily high on the Titan scale, just because it doesn't have like scales or fur or anything that would really show some true natural
Wait, that
defense.
wouldn't even work on Titan scale because you got to go at least 5. So there's
Yeah,
no way
no,
that we
so
have Titan scale
5
for
is
anything
like-
other than power.
All right, then what are you thinking?
A 4.
4.
Yeah.
I'll go with 4. Thinking about it.
Like thinking about it, there's nothing that's outstanding about this that's going to stop it from
No, there really isn't.
Really, its whole thing is going to be its size.
its size, and it's a bit like its arms. Those are its 2 main factors going into this fight.
I think I could give it a 4.
I would say a 4 as well since it doesn't really have any special abilities except for its massive arms and length.
Okay, 4 it is. What are we thinking for mobility?
It is a giant creature.
This is fully aquatic too, right?
Mhm.
So
The
there's
rendition
no
we're
other-
going with is fully aquatic.
I don't know. Whales are pretty fast in the water, but they are pretty big too. Maybe just a 5,
I would give it a 5.
just middle
I
of the
think
road.
middle of the road is
It's
good.
basically just a whale in terms of mobility.
Yeah, and I mean its size. I know we talked about weight isn't really a factor when it comes to the water, but like turning speed and stuff with its size, I think would hold it back. We'll go with a 5. HP though, this is going to be I think the
So,
Titan
I think
scale
it's-
will come into play here.
I'm not sure.
I would think so.
I'm still pretty sure we only Titan scale power.
Well, if you think about it, this isn't what we put, but like if Bigfoot had an HP of like 9,
Yeah. Oh, that's
This
overall.
thing's gonna have
I think
a lot
I remember this.
more
Actually, I remember this
HP.
argument because that's actually what we did. So you were like, oh, okay. So what if it scales down? But then I just said overall, compared to the scale of the thing itself, you just have 1 to 10 on that.
so what are you going to give it? A 1 of a 10. What are you going to give it?
a 9.
A 9. Because I could see a 9 mainly just due to pure size.
That's what I'm giving it. I'm giving it pure size and how long I think it's. From what I hear, it's dragging fishermen in huge boats down to the water, even while being attacked. So I think it can still sustain damage and continue on throughout its...
Yeah, that's the whole thing with Titans. If you think about it, like Godzilla as a Titan, he takes everything.
Pretty sure Godzilla's like city level, so that's even higher. But yes, I'll give it to you. It's a bigger
They
creature.
call him a Titan, so he's a Titan,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And if you think about it, they take a lot of shit. So I think if this is a Titan size, it would still have a 9 for that. Because
I'm still giving it a 9.
I'm with the 9. I like the 9.
I think this thing can take a beating for quite a while.
Then we're going 9.
Mm.
Okay, let's talk stealth. Since we're going with the Titan size.
Now, there is the fact that it's commonly mistaken for a whale. Do we attribute that as a stealth tactic, something it employs, or?
I mean, bringing it back, Bigfoot is mistaken a lot for a bear. So would we attribute that to his stealth? I don't think so.
I don't think so, but people
I
aren't
think
just
that's
actively
more
hunting
just
bears.
A missighting,
Yeah.
not really like a stealth factor, in my opinion. I'm going to just put it out there. I don't think he's going to have very high stealth. I think his size comes to bite him in the ass here.
Then again, he can also just dive deep.
Yeah,
You can
that's what I
go
was
under
gonna
the
say.
water.
he goes deep enough.
Yeah, but you could use that argument for any water-based cryptid and to give them high
Not
stealth.
I don't think on
Well,
this size.
he's got such a huge size. He's also somehow whale related. So, and they can stay underwater for a long ass time.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that.
And I think this thing, even though it's whale related, it doesn't have to go up for air either.
Yeah, this thing's, since it is a cryptid, it doesn't have like the normal constraints of it has to breathe air or anything like that. So
I still, even with that, I don't think it would have high stealth.
I'm not saying it would have high stealth.
yeah, we're just giving it a
I
factor.
wouldn't say like a 3 or a 4. I'd still say like at least a 5. At least.
I'm giving
I'm
it
going
a
with
6.
at least a 5. I really can't validate giving it anything higher than a 5. Like, that's all it has is just swim down far. That's the only stealth feat it really has. Because I really just don't attribute miss sightings to a stealth feat.
Unless it's within a group of whales.
I think it would stand out a fair bit if it was in a pod of whales. Gonna be honest.
I don't know. It depends on, we're not fishermen, so we're not looking out for that type of thing. But
Wouldn't fishermen be more perceptive to that kind of thing anyways?
you'd think so, but then there's a bunch of tales of fishermen being killed by this thing. So
It doesn't mean they're fast.
And it's also having them mistake it for a beluga whale.
that's true.
Well, it comes into credibility in this cryptid at some point. I really just don't think it's going to be that high. Think of 5. I'd go lower if it wasn't for the dive deep thing, honestly. I think that's just kind of a weak stealth argument, but I'm going to attribute it.
I don't know. What do you want?
I'm still saying 5 at least.
If you're both on 5, we'll go 5.
I would say 5 as well.
Well, I'm happy with the 5. Now, that brings us down to stat recap. We'll do a stat recap for both since we're about to hop into the fight here. So, we have intelligence 3, power 7, defense 4, mobility 5, HP 9, stealth 5, and keep into account when we go into this that this is Titan-sized cryptid, 65 to 90 feet long. And then, with the Amikuk, we have intelligence 5, power 10, defense 5, mobility 10, HP 7, stealth 4. Let's talk arena.
All right. Let's talk arena.
I think the arena is going to be pretty cut and dry. I think it's just maybe some ocean.
Arctic Ocean.
Arctic
Cold,
Ocean.
cold water.
Yeah.
Because it's either Arctic or Antarctic. It's one of those. So
Yeah. Cold, huge water, cold salt water. I think
I think we could give it like an ice float in the middle or something like that. But
Yeah.
other than that, I don't really think there's much different about this other
just
than
a
just
small
open
block
water.
of ice
Yeah.
and frozen open water. Okay, then I think we're ready to hop into the final
Oh,
fight.
whoa. This episode is sponsored by our Patreon. I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but
It's getting filled with the content.
Yeah, we've got some content on there now.
We've released our third series on there,
yes.
as I amazingly titled it, Caverns and Cryptids. It's our Dungeons and Dragons series that we got going on. First episode's out. There will probably be another episode. It's the 7th.
Within the month, I'm guessing?
I think probably near the end of the month we'll record another episode of that.
Yeah, I mean, all our after hours so far are actually on there, right? So we're up to date on that.
So if you don't enjoy Dungeons and Dragons, you can still listen to us bullshit for about an hour after every single episode, where we talk about various things like anime, the origin of CBT,
just games in general was the other one.
Mocking Andrew about his not having to play that certain game.
We'll talk a fair bit about games.
Yeah.
What else? We've talked about just podcasting in general, the general environment of it. We've talked about cryptids and cryptids in general, but cryptids in pop culture and stuff like that. And if you like what we do here and you're interested in that, we've also done an episode just like this without any real fighting. There's some fight talk, but our holiday special on the Easter Bunny.
Yeah. So we've got quite a bit of content on there now.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say we have we're getting close to 10 hours of content on the Patreon, which
you pay for that for $3. $3 a month. That's all you need for our one tier.
And you get all hours of extra content. And not only that, it gives you a direct link to us, to our Discord server. So if you ever just want a direct line to us, hit up our Patreon. Join our Discord. We have Justin is the only one who's hopped on the Discord.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you've set up the Discord, so that's a big step.
It's on there now.
Yeah.
It is pinned. It's the first thing you see when you click on our Patreon.
I mean, we're just trying to build it up, get the community going.
And there is something I'm working on. It's going to come whenever I finish it, but we are going to have a Reddit up eventually.
Hey, there we go.
So that'll be another way everybody can join in, have discussions, debate the mistakes we make.
That won't be a Patreon thing.
No, that'll be free.
Yeah.
But there's no better time to
do episode,
Shit talks. Mothman, we're talking him up because I do know we have fans that like the Mothman for some reason.
Please,
I mean, you could just throw out cryptids, throw out creepypastas because we do those as well. Throw out anything.
Just be a place for all of us to talk about stuff.
Encourage us to do something else within the line, without it. But sponsorship over.
Yeah. Back to the regularly scheduled program. The part that everybody enjoys listening to in every episode. The fight.
Let's go. All right, so
what are we thinking going in?
Going in, hearing about it, I really thought that the Ningen had more of a chance than he sounds like he does. I'm giving this the Amikuk pretty easily. I will hear arguments against it, though.
See, I was on your side. I was like, this is going to be an Amikuk wash, easily. Mm-hmm. But what turned it around for me is the size. The size difference, I think, gives the Ningen
I know
if you think about it, it's big versus Titan.
Okay, but hear me now. Mobility, power. This thing is crushing through this.
Oh, there's no argument there, I didn't want to jump right to my final conclusion,
No, I'm just saying, what's an argument against this thing just tearing through the Ningen?
Here's my argument. The Ningen has Titan class strength. A 7.
He also has reach and everything, so even if the Amikuk is fast, it just kind of can grab it.
And here's the big downfall for the Amikuk. It's got a defensive 5. Going against a Titan class 7, I mean...
That is true.
And the HP, what is the HP of the Amikuk?
The Amikuk's got an HP of 7, so it's got decent size, or decent HP, but... I mean,
after a few slaps, this thing's going to be hurting.
I think just a good squeeze on the body would be enough to really take the Amikuk out for the Ningen to gain victory. Because, and once it damages the tentacles, if it starts running out of the tentacles or the lengthy arms, it's going to start losing power.
Yeah, that's also another thing, is that the tentacles kind of give it the speed of reuse, because then it can just grab the tentacles.
That's true.
And really while the tentacles are a huge advantage, they're also a big weak spot.
What about the... are we throwing in the semi at the reel?
We can, yeah.
So what does he do if it just, tries to grab it and it phases right through him?
Goes for it again.
The thing is, I don't see it going through him. I feel like it would be able to dig through the hand, but at that point, you just kind of... if it does it enough to where it grabs him and just crushes him.
But I mean, you just brought it up yourself. What if it just decides to tunnel into the hand?
But what if it crushes before he even gets a chance to?
I don't think so, because the mobility on this thing is it's
Mobility
so
for him was only that he can go through any sort of land and not
extremely quickly. Extremely quickly.
Enough to
I
not
wouldn't
become-
say.
If he cannot outswim someone in the water, it's not extremely quickly. It's not chupacabra fast or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
It's-
on Roger's side here because I also gave it the 10 because of the ability to burrow through Earth quickly. I don't think it's just base speed is anything to write home about. It's obviously going to be faster than a human, but I think what really tips it to the 10 for its mobility is its ability to traverse so quickly through Earth as well as water.
I don't know. I still think this thing's got it. Like, I still think this thing has it in the bag just in case. Let's say it comes at it from behind. Like, what's
Okay, we'll say it comes at it from behind. It's huge fucking fin. That thing is going to be powerful.
Yeah. What if it just drills
I'd
right
say
through it?
strong enough to create a whirlwind that could throw the, or not a whirlwind, but like a whirlpool or something like that.
Well,
to
we
throw
didn't
this
attribute
creature
it
off.
any special abilities to create.
No, but that's
whirlwinds.
more of just like the force
I wouldn't
of
even
this
say a
thing
whirlpool.
swimming.
It's kind of just like a big blast
Yeah,
of
a
water.
pushback from
And
the
I don't
force.
think this thing is fast enough to be able or strong enough to get through that.
And it's covering like a really large area when it does, when it would move its tail to create any kind of forced pushback.
Okay, it pushes it back, but then it just tries again.
By that
Yeah,
time,
and
I
this
feel like
thing
it'd
could-
be able to turn around and be like, all right, it's crushing.
What's the mobility of the...
The mobility of the Ningen, I don't think it was very high. It's only a 5.
Oh, that's actually higher. I thought it was a 4.
I think you argued for 4, but we turned it around. So here's the thing. I think it could push it back with the tail enough times to create enough distance to turn around, or at least turn to the side and get it in a position where it could at
Some
least
sort of
use
resistance.
one arm.
Yeah.
You got any thoughts, Lainey?
I think the Ningen would definitely just because of its massive size and its arms, it could just crush. And I definitely agree with the water thing with the tail.
Thing is that I would give the Amikuk something, but just the
Okay,
size
hold
of this Ningen, it's kind of just trumps it.
What if the Amikuk goes from below?
All right. So I'm going to throw this out here. I was hopping in.
Or
I
above.
wanted to, cover my thoughts on the Ningen first. But I'm with you, Andrew. I think the Amikuk's going to win this.
Okay.
In actuality.
I mean, the Ningen does put up a good fight in the fact that
I don't think it's going to be a landslide like you were saying.
I wasn't thinking too heavy on the Ningen's ability, overall power in the water, but I like the resistance against it. And you know what? I just thought about if it goes from above or below, the hands can still move above and below it. So either way, it's still got the arms is really what gives it power in this situation, and its huge size, of course.
Okay, well, it just also goes deeper in the water. And then
That-
all of a sudden
that
the
too.
hands come out of the ground and the fucking Amikuk's coming in and boom. It's in the grass. It surprises it, so the Amikuk's not ready. Snapped it.
I still think the Amikuk has semi-ethereal though. That's the one thing that pushes me over the edge.
I
of
don't-
like.
The thing is that I don't know if it's ethereal or if it's just be able to dig through stuff. That's why we
Either
should-
way, I still think it can dig straight through this thing.
I didn't even take into ethereal account really just because I don't really like it that much ability-wise. So when I was thinking about it, I like the drill factor.
Yeah.
How, let's say, it is going to grab it. It has the strength to just drill
It
through
just-
the hand.
it just
if it's
claws
tearing
right
through
through there.
ground and ice, it can get through the hand.
My thing is,
Especially since the Ningen doesn't have a very high defense at all. So, because we're just like, it's got the blubber and that's it.
And here's my other thing. The arms only cover about a third of the body. Some distance in front and then a third the way down. So it is going to have parts of the body that it can't really defend. It would rely purely on mobility to escape. And if the Ningen can just get in, or not the Ningen, but the Amikuk can just get inside the body, it can start tearing through organs and vital parts of the
And
body.
like you said, it's not going to be, a landslide because the Ningen does have a lot of HP. So it's going to take a long time for the Amikuk to actually tear it up enough to finally kill it. But I think I'm with you on the fact that as soon as it gets in there, it's pretty much done. Because other than the Ningen literally reaching inside its body and ripping this thing out, but then that's just going to hurt it even more.
I don't think it's a landslide because I think the Ningen brings enough to the table to win a fair amount of fights and defend.
There's
against a
definitely
lot of
enough
abilities.
times where the Ningen either just hits it hard enough or squeezes it or something like that, but I think more times than not.
I'll
the
give it to
Amikuk.
Amikuk now, thinking about it, just purely because of intelligence and its survival factor.
That's true. The Amikuk weighs both of them
That's
pretty low.
that's the only thing, because Ningen isn't really known for really attacking and killing things and being able to survive off stuff.
No, it's more of a passive kind of cryptid.
Whereas the Amikuk is built for that. So
Oh yeah, the Amikuk's a killer.
that's the only thing I will give it, since it is known as the apex predator. That's why I'll give it to it.
Yeah, no, I think the Omnicook's just sheer power and bloodlust really gives it the advantage. I think it can be too easily killed to give it a landslide because its body is really small. It's the arms that give it the length. So just a good hit, one good hit from the Ningen to the body is going to mess it up pretty good.
Yeah, and
Well, I wouldn't say the body's small. It's still like
It's
probably,
still large, but a lot of the length comes from the tentacles. A majority of the length.
yeah, and if we're thinking about the power of just like even a human hand sized up to Titan, even against something that's as big as a house, you're just one good swing is enough to crush quite a bit internally. So
I'd still give it to the Amikuk though. I think winning a majority of the time.
yeah, I think it's, and I'm not gonna even throw in the instant kill because I don't think that it has anything to do with this, but.
that is human size though. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure the insta-kill thing's just for, old people, I don't think it has anything to do, really, with anything else.
Special old people insta-kill.
Well, because a lot of it's just attributed to, if you're using something like a stick to walk with and all that stuff, then it can go up through the
You're
stick
basically
and kill
on
you.
death's doorstep already.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's just, if it, it surprises you enough to give you a heart attack anyway. But, you got anything to say, Lainey?
I'd say definitely, guys, I didn't think about, going with the Ningen, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Amikuk the Amikuk could definitely go where he couldn't reach and just go inside of him and start messing up and doing some damage.
So,
Damn
For
it,
sure.
Ningen.
So
Damn it, Ningen.
I give it
He
to
put up a
Amikuk.
better fight than I thought he would. For sure.
I thought he would put up more of a fight, but
My only problem with him, though, is obviously he doesn't have the hunter instinct, the survival instinct, and he's just got no real feats to show he's a fighter. I think it's more just raw power that gets him through anything. But I think we can crown Amikuk into the Ring of Champions.
yes, it gets the belt.
But if you did hope for a Ningen victory, don't discount him yet, because what's coming up, guys?
Oh, well, we've got the look back, the recount, the rewind.
recap.
The mashup. It's going to be wild. So all the cryptids we've covered, minus Toby, maybe the Rake, just because I like him enough to consider bringing him into this.
We'll definitely talk about the two, but they're probably not going to get any restats
don't
or
think we're
anything like
talking
that.
about Thicky Toby, okay? I think
No.
we'll talk about
Well,
that.
I think if we're going to talk about the rate, the episode itself is just thrown into question already. But I don't think there's going to be any restatting or anything like that for those two.
I think it'll just be more of we bring it up if we want to, but they won't be getting restats or anything like that.
But like Matt said, if you wanted the Ninja to win, listen, there's still going to be some chances for him to shine next episode.
Oh yeah, definitely some matchups that he can go against that I think he could bring a victory to.
Mm.
If you had any problem with our stats or abilities throughout this entire season, bring it up to us.
Yeah.
There's a free way to do it.
Our email,
Yeah, you can email us at cryptidversuscryptid@gmail.com. That is
CRYPTID VS CRYPTID @gmail.com.
and that's going to be probably the best way to get a hold of us. There is another way. We do have a Twitter. It's at cryptidversus on Twitter. That is,
CRYPTIDVS.
yeah, we don't have hardly any followers, so I am hardly active on it. I get a lot of notifications from Spanish Twitter users that I don't understand. I don't know why I get those.
There's a translate tweet option.
It has nothing to do with cryptids
Oh.
at all.
Oh.
Trust me, I've
It's
looked.
probably just
It's
spam bots then. Yeah.
basically spam. So if you want me to start using Twitter, then go ahead and give us a follow.
Yeah.
But I don't think we have too much other to plug besides looking forward to the mashup, looking forward to the Reddit that will eventually come out. You guys know how I am with setting stuff up. It could take a while, but
Yeah.
eventually we'll get there.
Expected in a year or so.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Eventually, it'll happen eventually, and that's But so far, all the eventually have come to fruition. We got a Patreon, we got a Twitter, we got a.
Yeah, we get all
we
this
started
stuff.
the D&D, so
The Discord finally went up
yes,
after
exactly.
months of saying it.
Exactly.
But yeah, Next, we got the rehash. And then, after that, there's no brakes on this train. We're hopping back into our regularly scheduled fights. We'll talk more about that in the rehash, but be looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot like the first round of battles. So if you enjoyed that, just be ready for what we have to come.
All right, last part of the episode, believability. Let's start off with Lainey. What's your believability? We'll go with the Ningen first.
Ningen, I can definitely, I don't know, because there's like two different versions of it. I would say definitely the one like with like just the two legs and the weird body thing. It's not very believable, and then the weird arm, the super long arms, it's not very believable either. So I wouldn't say it's really that believable.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your believability here?
About maybe a 2 or 3.
2 or 3, so she still has some believability. Roger, what are you going for?
Wow, we're not even going clockwise.
I guess we're just you and X now.
Yeah, we're mashing it up.
Andrew's just taking this for a roll.
Hey, I'm back, and I'm better than ever, baby.
I'm gonna say this right now. I'm a sucker for government cover-ups. All right. You see, when aliens were covered up, look what happened. Aliens are real.
Oh, it's all coming out.
Okay,
man. The
UFOs
Pentagon-
are real. No one said that aliens are on Earth. Aliens are definitely real.
Have you seen the
but-
Pentagon stuff? We need to make a podcast talking about aliens.
I'm just saying, aliens are real.
Aliens
And
are
therefore,
real. I'm totally with you on
Therefore,
that.
with government cover-ups, I think Ningen's real. 100%.
Full believability there. Wow. all
Now, I don't know about the
right. Whoa! Matt, what's your believability?
I'm so glad you brought that up, Roger. I love government cover-ups because they cover up just about everything that they don't want us to know. And I'm buying into this government cover-up. Now, I don't really believe in the giant, huge fucking one, the 65 to 90 feet. I think that's a little unbelievable. I really hope the one with the 2 legs and one body is real, because that would just be fucking awesome. That would just be the best thing. You go to Antarctica and you see that thing just running around on its 2 legs.
You kick it like a soccer ball.
I almost like it just as much as Frogman.
It's not wearing pants.
That's the downside. If it wore pants, it'd be my favorite cryptid.
Just wearing ski pants. You already know.
Yes.
that.
Oh my god, that'd be awesome. But I think the most believable version is the one with the 2 arms and legs. That's smaller, more human-sized. And I put a lot of credit into that because I also put credit into the mermaids because of the theory of humans evolving from water, which just makes a lot of sense. And I talked about it in the mermaid one also, but there is a tribe that's adapted to see clearly through the water. They can breathe for extraordinary amount of times. It just makes sense evolutionary to me if we go with that theory. If I were to scale it, I'd probably give it a 7 or 8 in believability.
I'm going to have to be the same way for the believability. I didn't rate it, so.
Oh, okay. Andrew's still a 0 on that believability train. Government conspiracies are something that I don't, it's not like I despise or anything like that, but I'm just not into government conspiracies. Like, I don't think the government's got enough overall power to pull a Men in Black on us. They're too preoccupied with, other things.
They're preoccupied with all the other cover-ups.
Yeah, with all the, war cover-ups that they're trying to do and stuff. So,
Hey man, the military-industrial complex requires a lot of effort.
yeah,
I'll give them that.
Yeah, so much money into that. But anyway, I'm still 0. We're going to Amikuk.
Let's go in reverse. You start us off, Andrew.
All right, we're still at 0. No believability. Who would have seen that one coming? Anyway, you got your neighborhood skeptic here. I'm not too into the whole Native American spirits thing. So where this is involved, it's just I got no. I put no credit to it because I think, like you said earlier in the episode, it's more of a boogeyman story that I'm guessing that a lot of these tribes that are living in the up in Alaska and whatnot that have traveled over. It's more like, don't go wandering off on your own because then you're going to get lost. And instead of saying, oh, you're going to get lost, that just dawned on a kid, oh, lost, whatever. But it's more like, oh, hey, there's this thing that can literally kill you. So don't go out there,
I'm glad you brought up the Native American boogeyman thing because when it comes to Native American folklore, cryptid creatures, I tend to put more stock into it because it's from Native Americans and their legends because they've been around for so long. They see all this stuff. Some of them you can put valid credit to. This is one of the few instances where I just can't put any credit into this. If this thing was real, we would for sure hear about it. This
We
thing
would know
just
about it.
kills humans constantly. It's the main target. It's something we would know. And because of that, I just can't put much credibility into it. And I can't really tackle it from, oh, maybe this is what it actually is, or this form is believable.
I think the biggest thing I heard is octopus. It's just like the only thing.
I heard weirdly beaver. That it was
That
just
is weird, but
mistaken beaver or otter, which I don't see at all, but that's something I heard. But even then, I don't know. It's just not. I like it. I like the cryptid, but I can't put any realistic stock into it.
I'm about to be on an amateur train here and zero believe everybody. I just can't believe this thing exists.
I'm gonna
With
give
how they describe it as it can literally go through anything and it kills, it just no.
I'm gonna give it a 1.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold out the tiniest hope, but it's.
I don't know why you're hoping for this thing to exist, but
Yeah. You're like, oh, tiniest hope that the
Hey, man.
greatest hunter of humans exists.
I don't live in Alaska. Not my problem.
Until it starts going
comes
down.
here.
We're too far mainland.
It doesn't sound like it's a problem for this thing.
Yeah.
Let's just hope you never go to Alaska and this thing sees you and follows you here.
I don't plan on it. Plus, it's a 1. If I were to give it any credit, it's probably like fucking
It's super
a
tiny.
foot. at
Actually, that
most.
scares me more than anything else. If it were super tiny, then it would
Oh.
be small enough for you to miss, and then it goes in your body, and you're like, fuck.
Easily just smash it down, just like the
Until
Ningen.
until it goes in your hand. Ah! You're like, oh, fuck,
Until you're
I should have
like,
given
oh,
the Ningen a better score. Ah! It kills you, yeah.
Try and smash it down and then your whole hand's gone.
It worshipped me like a god because I fucking defended it.
Because you gave it a 1.
No, I gave it the advantage in the
What
fight.
you said about me on the podcast.
Laney, why don't you round us out here?
Yeah, what do you have?
Zero believability.
Yeah.
I believe it's like the whole Native American thing, like, and spirits is definitely like true because I believe in like spirits and ghosts and stuff. Just have past trauma experiences, but I don't believe that could ever be real.
Right. Well, I'm the resident cryptid believer here, so I had to give it the 1, you know. But I'm pretty much
I
on
don't
the
know.
same.
I think Roger's kind of the resident believer.
I don't know. I mean, he's probably puts more stock into a few of them than I do, but I think I believe further in depth.
Well, you'll
When
have
it
to
comes
hash
to the
that
ones we
out
believe.
yourselves, but we all know who's the resident skeptic.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You can keep that role. I don't want it.
Yeah, I don't think any of us want
Yeah.
that role.
Anyway, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. So.
Yeah, that draws us to a close, and we'll see you guys in the rehash and mashup.
Yep.
See you.
See ya.
Later.